Hmm. Hello, beautiful people.
Hello.
Welcome to today's live Esoteric Liminal Horizons. I'm Whitney. This is Braden, and we will have my husband Rick joining us soon. You think you're here for a conversation. This is not a conversation. This is a confrontation. Tonight, we're not here to play it safe. We're not here to polish affirmations and sprinkle sugar on top of our wounds. We are here to go straight to the bone, straight to the truth, straight to the parts of you that you've been hiding under masks and quiet lies for far too long. You built those masks to survive, didn't you? You told yourself that they kept you safe, they kept you loved, they kept you hidden where the pain couldn't reach you. But here's the brutal truth. They're suffocating you now. So tonight, we're not here to fix the mask. We're here to rip it off. We expose the fear that crafted it. We expose the lies that fed it. And we free the soul that has been trapped beneath it. If you're ready to leave your old self in ashes, if you're ready to feel your power, then stay. But if you're not ready for this fire, if you're not ready to face your truth tonight, now is your chance to leave.
Don't do it, guys. I mean, it always makes for an interesting conversation. And you can go as far as you can go with it. You don't have to stay for the whole thing. If it gets too visceral, it's fine. Take a step back, take a breather. You can always come back to this.
Once you begin, there's no turning back.
That's very true. It's like
once you start asking the questions.
Yep. I have a Norse divination deck, and I have to give people that warning. Like this is the deck that calls to me. But if I give you a reading with this, like, you've got to be responsible from this point on. Like there's no turning a blind eye. Like you now have knowing and understanding what's going on and why. And some people didn't take that very seriously. And then they had to start taking it seriously. But it's beautiful because they've had a lot of growth from it. So that's what we're saying. Like this is a growth moment, and it's a very in-depth growth moment. So it does require a level of accountability to self.
This is a series from April. This is April's series. We started with liminal spaces, that building. We were gathering all the knowledge.
The calm before the storm.
And we were figuring out what to do with it.
The feel of the flow.
And we were letting go of things that don't serve us anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're stepping into Rediscovering Self.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, you have to peel back layers. You have to acknowledge the little anchors that are keeping you in those same patterns that you don't want to be in anymore. In order to let those go, you have to acknowledge them.
No, you don't have to. You get to. It is your journey.
Words are powerful.
Yes, and it's your journey to take. And not only is it your journey to take, guys, curiosity, man. That is what I am finding is the ultimate get through for me. If you can get curious even about the hard things going on in your life, man, does it take so much pressure off your brain. Doesn't make it perfect. Doesn't make it really any easier in the sense of, oh, all of a sudden I can do the things. But it gives you a sense of, I can do this. I can walk in my own power. I can take the steps. And I don't have to take all of the steps all at once right away. But I can start the journey. And you guys have started this journey. It started with, like Whitney said, it started with the liminal. And now we're into the discovery of self, the rediscovery of the self. Remembering what used to be.
They're like markers.
Mm-hmm.
These are marker points. We keep working on this. It is about the journey. It is not about the destination. It is not about the end point. It is about the journey. So this that we're in the midst of, this is creation. This is where you have your paintbrush and your colors, and you get to find, redefine what makes you. How do we do that? The video that I shared before this by Alan Watts was about we're all players. But it starts with asking questions like, who am I? And I think that's a pretty important question. Because when you ask somebody about themselves, they normally answer with their profession, what they do. But is that who you are? Is your profession who you are? I'm a mother. Does that define who I am? That's not just me. So we're peeling back all these layers.
And it's so much fun. And
who am I?
And it's interesting stuff. It's really wild to see what actually stokes the fire that is you. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I talk to myself sometimes in the third person, Sometimes I am referring to Braden as if he's some external being, but it's because it helps me have an understanding for a feeling or an understanding for, yeah, it really is feelings, passionate thoughts, stuff that I feel strongly about. That's when I find myself reverting to the third person, just trying to get a feel from a different point of view on myself, I guess.
I don't know. The third person point of view really helped me in my self-love journey.
Okay.
Because if I think of myself like in first person, I'm not so kind. But if I'm thinking of myself in third person,
it's like talking to a friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, so there's reasons why we do these things. It's not because people are crazy. I mean, maybe. But
deep diving is rough, but I really feel like you find some really deep truths when you ask yourself and you peel back the layers of who am I.
It's like you're building it's like you're digging a mine, right? And as you are mining through this nothingness, this stuff that we can't perceive, but we're trying to understand, we come across these diamonds in the rough, these gems in raw form, and you get to appreciate them. And some of them you're going to take with you forever. Some of them will stick with you for a time. Some of them you'll recognize they're just not of a quality that is worth the time of what you're doing, and you'll leave those there. But then as you find these, you get to go and try and understand them. And understanding them is like putting in the effort. You're cleaning the raw rock. You're looking at what it is, and then you're going to start sanding it down or grinding it down into the shape you think it needs. And then from there, you're cutting the facets, and then you're polishing it, and you're making it beautiful. And then it's time for creation, And you get to do that with all of these things. So that's how I like to look at my self-discovery, because I'm just mining into the core of me and seeing what's there.
That's poetic.
Thank you.
I feel like the more that we strip back the layers and define who we are, you really can't express who you are without describing your interactions with people and the environment. And I really feel like the more that we strip that back and come to that understanding, because you will. Once you get to the bottom of who am I feel like no matter what you call it, God, Mana,
Source,
Ramon,
what have you,
Source, we are all connected. You are interacting with your environment, with people, and you get to define that. This rediscovery is so potent because if you're not happy with how you were and you get to rediscover yourself and create a new you want it to be the one that you feel good in.
Yeah, the true version of things, the things that give you goosebumpies,
Mm.
Make your ears ring. all of those things. It's, I don't know. It's something we could just go on and on and on about, but
I am so excited. So today's live is probably going to go on a little extra long, especially having my husband here, putting his extra cents in. Oh, it's such a juicy topic. It's one of my favorites.
And we're going over the 13 questions that Whitney posted earlier in the week.
So if you saw them and you have an answer as we're going over them, and you feel brave enough to share them in the comments, this is a sacred space.
Oh my gosh, I could go ahead and just pin that really quick. And then
pin the post.
I will figure out how to do that. Shoot. Oh, there it is. Boom. Look at that. Pinned to featured. Bam.
Boom.
All right.
It's pinned to the featured. If you want to go back and you want to see the questions,
follow along.
Everybody. But yeah, we're going to go over those questions. Those will peel back some of the masks that we've been holding on to.
Oh, yeah. Give me gumdrops. Time to get visceral, guys. Are you ready? Take deep breaths. Ground yourself. Get curious. And if you're feeling
honest,
and if you're feeling that that sense of shame or uneasement, it is because you are about to allow yourself to have a voice. And if that's not something you're comfortable with doing, it portrays itself in many forms. So work past the uneasy feelings, do your grounding, take your deep breaths. Remind yourself this is a safe space. It's okay for you to express, and it's okay for you to reveal to yourself what you would like to know about yourself. And you're allowed to stop at any time. And with that, should we start with question number 1?
Let's get into it.
All right. The first question. What lie do you keep telling because you're afraid no one will love you without it? Sometimes the lies we tell aren't meant to deceive others. They're meant to protect you. They keep you safe. It's a comfortability. And it served a purpose. And now it's time to ask yourself, does it still serve that same purpose? Or have you outgrown that modality, if you will?
No one will love me if.
Oh, yeah, that comes really strongly into that. And remember, these lies may have protected you. At one point, they may not have been a lie. It may have been a version of truth for you. But as you grow in understanding, you outgrow your belief system because it's replaced with new things. And not necessarily that you're replacing your own beliefs, but you're getting deeper into the understanding of what you're holding on to for your morals and values, right? So that just ties along into your survival mode, that need to snap at people whenever you're angry because you're not feeling understood. And you want to feel understood, and you want to feel safe in trying to be understood and express. And maybe that's something you can work towards doing again, finding soft, slow ways to reintegrate your own self-expression outwardly to people. Because it's hard.
No one will love me if I'm not pretty, if I don't put on the makeup. No one will love me if I'm not nice and likable.
Well, you could get even more visceral with it. Instead of the no one, you can replace that with my kids, my significant other, my friends, myself, God, if you need to, want to, what have you. I should jump on our feet so we can see what's going on here. I was kind of dependent on Rick for that, so I could keep up on my questions, but we'll just split the screen and it'll be all fine and dandy. Do the things. Tap in here. Boom, boom. All right.
Ooh. Yep.
I think my lie is that I am okay. That's a good one. To always tell yourself I'm okay, to gaslight yourself with a form of coping verbally to your mind. It's a powerful tool, and it definitely helps in its circumstances. But it definitely is a modality of keeping you stuck.
Hmm.
Same with that I'm not. Well, see, no, that I'm not enough. That one I feel. That one, I
That
don't
is the
know.
lie you keep telling because you're afraid no one will love you without it. Feel like it'll protect you.
But
And that is
I could see that with the I am not enough, because then it keeps you from having to maybe worry about failing in the things that you do want. It keeps you in that safe spot of like not having to do the things like, oh man, I'm not enough. I'm not enough for this person. I'm not enough for myself. And it keeps you in this little bit of like, well, maybe I could. Oh no, I don't have to. I don't want to. Where's my? And then it goes back to the, I'm not enough. So it's breaking that maybe I could and stepping into what
if you set the bar low, then you're not getting let down.
Yeah, yeah. But you got to raise that bar.
Mm.
You got to be willing to be. Well, and here's the thing, man. Like being let down by other people is rough and it sucks. And it does. It screams, I'm not enough. But we can switch that perspective from I'm not enough to the frequencies don't match. We're not in the same place. Our thoughts don't align. And that's completely okay. You're not going to with the majority of people. Like we're very individual creatures. Like, sure, it looks like from a whole society runs in tandem and it's a whole group of people that are all on the in while the rest of us are on the out. But having that perspective creates that illusion. So it's changing that perspective and recognizing that everybody is going to click with somebody out there.
You're pulling back our power.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole not enough, we are rediscovering, we are creating, we are defining ourselves. So, like Steph asked, what is enough? Who says enough is enough? Whose definition? Yours is the only one that matters. And you get to, at this moment, in this whole redefining phase, get to allow yourself, give yourself permission to be enough, because just existing is enough of a reason to receive love, respect, common humanity, respect and love.
And with that, you don't have to have the fear that you're going to stay in this low level of what is enough. You know, you can start small. You can give yourself the easy stuff. You can be like, yeah, doing this action is enough. Showing up to this function is enough. Writing it out in a journal is enough. The thing is you're just going to challenge yourself to see what the next enough is. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of self-discovery. Is it doesn't happen once. It's cyclical. It happens 24/7 all the time through every experience you go through. And the more present you can be in your experience and nurture the result that you want in that moment, the more power, the more control, the more liberation you have with your own life, because you start to see that is how you recall your power back to yourself. It's taking your thoughts away from the past events. It's taking your thoughts away from the future possibilities. Those are infinite. There's so many out there. But in the moment that you are in right now, what choice are you making? How much focus and intent are you putting on it? And does it give you the desired outcome that you're looking for? And if it fits in those parameters, then that's a step towards growth. That's a step towards reclaiming your power. That's calling it all back to you and then putting it into your current moment. That's bringing your future possibility into your present moments. Like, it's awesome to be able to futurescape. It sucks to be able to futurescape. Those are two different perspectives you can have with it. But remember, it doesn't matter how much you futurescape, until you make the choice in the now, you will never see that future become your now. And as long as you hold on to the past and don't let go, as long as you hold on to the
I'll
past
be right back.
and don't let go of that past experience and recirculating back to it's going to be like that again, the harder it's going to be for you to own the choice that you're trying to currently make. It's a form of self-sabotage. So as we step into this self-discovery, as we're doing these things, as we're deciding right now what is enough for us on our terms based on our comfortabilities, just remember, it's all going to be growth from this point. And it is scary, but it's exciting. And that's about all I have for question 1. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I'm excited for question 2.
All right, but we'll wait just a second. We're going to get situated. We'll jump into section 2. While we're doing that, you guys go ahead, sit down, take some time to contemplate.
I like that.
And you're not wrong, Stephanie. Like, who you're around, definitely. It's scientifically proven that we absorb the energy of others. We absorb people's energy fields, their auras, what have you. So, really picking the people that promote your growth is huge. And it's not saying that you don't spend time with those other people that don't. You'll find that shift on its own, and you'll find an equilibrium and balance with it based on how important
you
that
are
is.
who you hang around. But at the same time, remember, you teach people how to treat you by what you allow and what you do not allow. So as we're rediscovering ourselves, do these situations, these people that you find yourselves around, do they feel good to you?
Yeah.
Start on question 2.
All right. Question 2. When someone compliments you, what do you immediately think they're wrong about? That flinch of disbelief when someone sees your light? That's your inner critic gatekeeping your worth. But what if they're not wrong? Just seeing the part of you that you've buried. And I think that kind of falls back into that whole uncomfortability thing. Like, have you noticed, guys, when you feel uncomfortable, you revert to a base emotion? It's fear. It's more often than not, it's fear. It's fear of rejection. It's fear of failing. It's fear of so many different things, right? And I think that we put such a broad spectrum of instances on fear that we are so commonplace with it, we don't register it as fear. That's why it sits as uncomfortability, because we've become so comfortable with not addressing the fear that we have and sitting side by side in silence instead of confronting it, that now it's just uncomfortable. It's no longer a fear. It's just uncomfortable. But I'm going to keep the awkward silence and just, yeah.
When someone compliments you, what do you immediately think that they're wrong about?
Throw a compliment out there.
I love this one. Huh?
Throw a compliment out there. Let's break it down.
I love your hair.
You're beautiful. Oh my gosh, that outfit looks amazing on you. I love your eyes. You look really good today.
Where do you feel it? Before the thoughts. Do you feel it in your chest?
Oh, I don't really do that much. I appreciate it though. Thanks.
Is it in your shoulders? Is it in your back?
Oh,
do you feel tense?
It's nothing. Oh, you look good. I mean, you look good. Just
classic redirection.
Yep.
Redirection. You don't want to own the compliment.
Anyways, change the topic.
And where's it come from? Why is it so uncomfortable to own the compliments? Why don't you want to receive the blessing that's being given to you?
Yeah, accept it with grace.
I can't remember his name. There's this guy on TikTok who he dresses awkwardly. Like, it's not awkward. But it's his own wild. Style. Yes, and he talks about standing up on stage and just being yourself and yelling, screaming.
Stepping into it. Why can't you
do it?
Yes.
Like, oh, well, I don't want to be that loud. Well, I don't like how I look. Oh, why? Well, because I'm supposed to look like this. Beauty standards look like this. I'm not that pretty. I've seen other people who are prettier than me. So you saying it to me is, I'm not that pretty.
Right. Comparison is the thief of joy.
And beauty is the eye of the beholder. Then, beauty is subjective. It really is to everybody's own taste. And everybody has such varying opinions on things that it's like, you can't rely on the opinions of others to decide for you what you think beauty is going to be, what you think success looks like, what you think enough for you is, because they don't have the same set of circumstances as you do. It doesn't matter how similar a person is to you, how similar of a life you guys grew up in. It's still not exactly the same. There are subtle differences, and the subtle differences make a whole world of difference. That's why we have individuality.
I like the comment that Alba posted. Question their authenticity before accepting it. That is absolutely valid.
Yeah.
Can't tell you how
Are they
many
being fake
backhanded
about it?
comments there have been. A backhanded compliment.
Man, I think, and for me, and it's direct, but when it feels backhanded, I ask.
Yeah.
And I don't ask accusingly. I'm like, was that backhanded? It was just, hey, man, I didn't take that quite right. Like, that felt like a slap in the face. Is that what you were going for? You know, like, I want to know the answer, but I'm not going to outright accuse you, but I'm going to let you know how I'm feeling about it. Because at the end of the day, you teach people how to treat you, and you're learning how to treat others, and you're learning how to do the things. So if you're not sure, asking for clarification isn't confrontation. It's a way for you to be able to have better understanding for the next encounter with the next individual. And you can even say that. Be like, hey, I'm just learning how to recognize backhanded compliments and authentic compliments. This felt a little backhanded. And, I'm working on this. So,
but phrasing that as a question is giving him an opportunity to respond and let you know, instead of just assuming it was a backhanded compliment. Not only that, but I like to keep in mind the golden rule.
Treat others
how you want to be treated. I mean, how would you frickin' feel if you gave somebody a deep, heartfelt, genuine compliment and they just sloughed it off? Like, oh, I mean, it wasn't that big of a dude. I'm recognizing it. Like, let me shower you, because I know how good it feels.
And it ties into that whole thief of joy that you were saying. Like, you are literally taking away a moment, not just for yourself, but for the other person. Think about how good it feels when you get to compliment somebody. Think about how good it feels when they accept your compliments. You're not sitting there thinking, oh man, this person's an egotistical bastard. Like, look at him saying thank you with a smile on his face and his shoulders. You don't think that. You're like, oh, look, there's a guy that really appreciated the compliment I gave him. He really is proud of what he's doing.
I put makeup on today because I wanted to look a certain way, and I achieved what I wanted.
Or the beauty when they gush about something, like when you compliment their sweater and they're like, oh, thanks, I paid $4 for it on Temu.
Yeah, and then they go wild with the whole experience.
That's beautiful.
This was a special find. Or thanks for noticing. I put in the extra effort.
Yeah. Yeah. So remember, guys, like, everything is a two-way street. That golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated. It's in every instant. It's not just the superficial ones. How do you want to be handled when somebody's being wrong towards you? How do you want to be handled when, things are in misunderstanding? How do you want to be handled when things are being, when you're trying to give compliments, when you're trying to give services just because you can,
I like diving deep into this one, though, like really reflecting on it, taking the time alone with yourself to really think about where it hits you. Why is it so hard to accept a compliment?
And remember, you're rejecting yourself when you don't accept compliments. It's like you're telling yourself you're not worthy of accepting something that you in your own heart want to believe anyway. You've been given a chance to be able to accept it. And it's going to be awkward and messy at first. You're not used to doing it. And nobody's going to judge you for it.
That's okay.
And if they do judge you for it, they're not the kind of people who need to be around anyway.
It's a lot of work examining those insecurities that lead to that self-doubt that doesn't allow you to accept those compliments, but the work is worth it. It can be painful to look at, and trying to decipher where those stem from is a challenge, but it's absolutely doable.
And there's something beautiful about revealing the truth. Beautiful is my keyword for the day. I've heard it out of my mouth too many times already. But
it's a good word.
Doing the work, shoot, the thought's gone. It disappeared.
Sorry, I smoked.
No, it was gone when I like.
I really struggled with compliments. I still do kind of struggle with big compliments. When people gush over me, it makes me uncomfortable. But sitting with that uncomfortableness has gotten a little bit more comfortable as weird as that is.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've
Okay.
got my thought
All right.
strong.
all right, awesome.
Well,
Shoot. No. Where did it go again? We were talking about thoughts and doing the work.
Accepting compliments is
Accepting
hard.
compliments is hard.
struggle busting with the uncomfortableness.
When you learn to feel into the energy that people are giving you in the compliment and then just absorbing that, like, that's the unsettling part. They're throwing energy at you that's very high intensity. It's high vibrational. Compliments are a form of love. When you're not used to receiving love, you're not used to giving love to yourself, it's hard to take that energy on. So when you do feel that, it's totally okay not to give a knee-jerk response. It's okay to sit in that feeling for a moment. You can even let them know, hey, hold on, give me a second. Let me feel that out.
A good practice that I found for me was just learning to say thank you. To stop brushing them off and be like, oh yeah, it's not a big deal, it's just, there's other people, whatever excuse given to not allow myself to accept the compliment. Just say thank you. Because I was practicing sitting with it and like letting myself have that moment. Thank you.
Truth is a powerful thing.
I deserved that compliment. I do. That felt awkward. It can be painful at first, but getting to the nitty-gritty of the question and finding what makes you feel a certain way.
Oh, there it
I
is.
love it.
I remember. Thank you. All right, getting into the nitty-gritty. Finding the truth in that little thing. Man, there is something very freeing, liberating about finding that truth. More often than not, being able to just speak the truth to yourself and acknowledge that it is truth is its own sense of freedom. All of a sudden, there's nothing else to do. You don't have to do anything with it. You don't have to do some crazy exercise to like blow it out of the water and make it no longer part of your life. Like, you've hit the pivot point, man. It's such a, like, all right, I hit the truth. I know what it is. I can go a different direction. And it's easier to go that different direction because you're anchored in the knowing of that truth of where it was at. And accepting it. That's why it's so huge to learn how to step into acceptance with where you're actually at and being truthful and honest with yourself. That's going to be a big key. That's going to be a
Sitting in
huge
your
tool.
authenticity, finding
Yes.
those truths allows you. You are not the mask. We're taking them off. You are the fire beneath the mask. That honest truth, that rawness underneath all that uncomfortable.
And here's the thing, guys, when you run into those uncomfortable truths, maybe it's your perspective on something that you recognize about yourself is not in a positive light, but you've recognized the truth of it, you own it. And once you own it, you can change that perspective because there's something about owning it that allows you to leave it. Okay, own it, throwing that bad boy on the shelf. It's a marker, it's whatever it's going to be.
It's a good opportunity to parent that part of you, to go back and sit with that little you and
talk it
heal and hug it and, tell it. It's a lot of people told you that you weren't good enough. But I, at this point in time, am here to tell you that you are good enough as you were back then, just like you are now.
And heck, from that point, solidify it in your own accomplishments. Look at what you've done with your life. Look at what you've learned. Look at what you've created. Look at what you've discovered. You're not going to remember a lot of the things that you've learned because unless you put it into practice, it goes by the by. But as you sit and contemplate all these different things that you've come across, think about what you've taught your kids. Think about what your kids have taught you. All of those are their own accomplishments, have shaped you to be who you are. Yeah. It's given you the opportunity to have the tools you need necessary to keep moving forward. You've stepped onto our live, and if you've been here with us from the beginning or anywhere in between, you've gained a lot of knowledge on how to navigate yourself.
Recognizing emotions.
So now it's stepping into it. Now we're pushing you into action because those are the next steps. And we want to see you guys succeed. We want to hear your success stories. Fuel that feeds your fire behind the face. That sounds poetic. Change is so hard. It is. It is. It is. It is. Getting out of ruts are always hard. But you change that hardness, or you change your perspective over to curiosity. It's at least fun. It's at least fun, you know. And at the end of the day, like, guys, we're building our dream lives, right? Like, we are basically creating a video game for our life. I just discovered ClickUp. I think I might have talked about it a couple weeks ago, but I just now came to the understanding that
We should get commissions at this point.
that is my menu screen, guys. That is my menu screen. Like, when you're playing your video game and you push the pause button or whatever button it is, that brings up your inventory and all of your mission quests and all of that. Like, that is what ClickUp has become for me, and I'm stoked. It gives me a new perspective to get excited about scheduling my life. And I would have never thought that that's how it was going to be. Should we move on to the next one?
On to number 3.
Numero trace. What role were you assigned in your family that you never asked for but still play?
What role were you assigned in your family that you never asked for but you still play? What role did you not ask for that you play in your family?
Survival role, or family roles are survival tactics. They're not identities. And just because you were cast as the fixer, the strong one, the black sheep, what have you, it doesn't mean that's who you are. It's just the position you filled. And now that you get to be like away from that, you're your own person, you're living on your own, you're making your own choices. You have the opportunity to recast yourself if you so choose. You don't have to be the giver. You don't have to be the one that takes on everybody's stuff when it hits the fan. Like, you can choose to step away. You can choose to own your own power and be like, sorry guys, that just doesn't fit what I've got going on in life right now. Or at least not to the extent you're used to.
There's lots of masks that you put on. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if we peel back all the layers of who am I, and you go back to childhood and the roles that you had to play, that was a lot of what made you who you are. That was a lot of your identity at that point, because like I said, it's about your interactions with other people. So if your family life wasn't happy, if it was traumatic, if it was rough, if it was hard, it was a survival mode. And I mean, we could even say teenage years, we were surviving. We were all surviving. I mean, that I think is one of the first times that you are trying to define who you are. You're trying to rebel and become your own person, other than what roles you were assigned or what you felt you had to fill. Like,
and
as an older child, you feel a lot of responsibility, because I mean, I told my kids, like, you're setting the example. People are watching you. Your siblings are watching you. And that in and of itself, just like, God's watching you, there's a lot of pressure.
See, and what's beautiful about that, there I go again, is that's a moment to rephrase the perspective. You still want to drive home that you are the example, because they're the oldest child. It just is naturally the order of things. You don't have to look at them and be like, mind your P's and Q's, mister. You've got other people that need to learn the same. No, instead it's, man, get creative with your life. Get excited about it. Start doing things for you. Choose yourself. Show your brothers and sisters how they can be unapologetically them. Within reason. We're going to have boundaries. We're going to have manners. I'm going to teach you how to treat me, but you're also going to teach me how to treat you. Oh, yes.
True to yourself. And
yes.
Who you are as a person.
Building that, teaching them to have that perspective.
Mine was strong. As the oldest of my sisters, I needed to be strong. I needed to set the example. But not only that, I wanted a big brother around. And I didn't have one, so I had to be the big brother. It was in my head as the older sibling, setting the example. I wanted to be strong. I wanted to be able to protect. I wanted to be strong. I had to be strong. So, like, when things got rough or things got too sad, I had to be the one that could hold everybody that was crying.
I had a disconnect, so I didn't feel obligated to be any sort of way. I was the oldest. I was 7 years older than my my first brother and 8 years older than my second brother, and I just, I don't know.
No, I mean, how do you take that? That's such a huge gap.
Like I was a babysitter, so I felt more like not like a fill-in parent, but like a parent in training is how I felt until they got to their own age where, they weren't in diapers, they could feed themselves, they could cook for themselves, do things.
What did that do for you?
It allowed me a freedom of autonomy because I kind of just got to figure out things for myself in its own way.
See, my mom said, same here, Whit. You know what? I picked that up from you. I picked that up from you.
Genetics are strong.
So the one time that we went to a funeral together, my first funeral, I had to be strong for you. You didn't make me. It wasn't necessarily a role that I was assigned, even if it was assigned to me. The way that I took it was, that's what I wanted to be. That's what made me feel like I had a purpose. And if I couldn't do it, I was failing. And I feel like that plays a lot into my adult life. And I don't know, in a lot of my jobs, I ended up taking leadership positions. I didn't seek them out too often, but they came my way.
I feel that.
And then here I am starting my own business. I didn't want to work for somebody else. I wanted to make it mine.
One of the things that I could call maybe a bit of religious trauma, if you will, is the whole comment that, remember, many are called, but few are chosen, or many are called, but few stand up and receive, or what have you. So it's always been in my head, like, how do I become the one that is called and answers said call? And that put a level of pressure on me that turned me into a workaholic for a hot minute. Like, ooh, is it bad?
I resented it for a little bit. I resented having that pressure. I resented that leadership roles were thrown at me quite often. It's like, gosh, I don't want to have to do this all the time. I want to have somebody take care of me for once. Take over, and I'll follow.
I feel that.
And I mean, that's a mom thing, but like being the oldest, I wanted to throw it off onto somebody else. Somebody else, look at somebody else for a second. Let me sit in the dark over here without all the spotlight on me.
Yeah, and like, I don't know. My but experience again,
like
with that,
we were talking about, redefining it, making it mine, where it wasn't so overwhelming. In the end, the more that I dig deeper on that whole
spiel,
I put so much pressure on me.
Yeah,
it's me.
It always is. Mine's always been responsibility. Like, for a long time, it was, all right, the more you know, the more you're responsible for. Those that know more are going to be judged accordingly because they have the knowledge, right? I'm just sitting here like, guys, don't tell me any more things. I don't want to discover the things. Oh, I gotta, because then it's a responsibility. Like, once you know them, guys, you gotta put them into motion. It goes back to that whole hyperbole. Is it a hyperbole? A parable. Oh, it's the three guys that were all given talents. One was given 6, one was given 1, and one was given 3. And the guy with 6 talents cultivated them, made them the best they could be, did everything he could. The guy with 1 talent took that 1 talent and he buried it. Didn't want the world to see it. And the guy with 4 talents took those 4 talents, or 3 talents, and he expounded upon them, and he traded with other people with talents, and he learned new talents, and he traded those talents. All 3 people die. They meet their maker. And the first guy goes up to him and says, you did a really good job. You built your talent. You did a lot with it. You perfected it. You perfected them. All 6 of them. You did great. And you didn't share it with anybody. You didn't go past that. Like, you limited yourself. So you get a limited reward. He goes up to the guy that buried his talent. He says, you didn't do anything with your one talent. All you had to do was work with one talent and maybe go learn some more and trade and do your thing. But you buried it. You kept it from not only the world, but yourself. So you were going to inherit nothing. You get nothing. You built nothing, you get nothing. And the last guy, he goes, you get the whole kingdom. Because not only did you get 3 talents, but you expanded on them and you taught them to other people. And you took on other people's talents and you taught those talents and you accrued and you understand what it is to have the gift of plenty or what have you. But the point being is, like, you guys, as you discover yourself, as you are more willing to give what you learn to others, as you are willing to take what others are giving to you, your life is going to expand exponentially. You won't limit yourself. The world is your oyster. Get into that mindset of plenty of it's yours, it's for you. You are allowed to be selfish. That was one of the hardest things I had to own on my own is I am selfish. I'm a selfish creature by nature. And once I accept it and own that, it's not how do I change that? I don't think I'll ever not be selfish, but how do I make it beneficial for everybody?
For being honest, all humans are selfish. At the end of the day, nobody has your back but you. Nobody is there to allow you to feel loved,
So then,
to feel happy, except for you.
So then it's rephrasing it. For me, it's if I'm going to act out a selfish desire, then everybody along the way has to see some kind of benefits. If I'm stepping on people, if I'm pushing them down, if I'm taking away from their own life, their own quality of life in order to meet my ends, I'm not okay with doing it. That just means I haven't found the right way. Like, selfishness can be reined in. It can become a powerhouse. It can be something you can use to help everybody.
Leave it better than you found it.
Be
a person, place.
So basically what I'm saying, guys, is it's okay to have your feelings. It's okay to acknowledge certain traits about yourself. It's left up to you to shape those traits how you see fit. You don't have to get rid of them. It doesn't make you a terrible person. You just gotta learn to work with what you got. If it is something that really doesn't serve you, you can let it go. Replace it with something better.
And you can set boundaries. If you're still playing that role and it's not a role that you have accepted that you want, that you asked for, absolutely put
Set
up those
the boundaries. Yes.
I mean, I've had to do that in my own life and just let them know I'm not fixing this for you. I'm no longer going to step in and take care of these things for you. You're going to have to learn that yourself.
Sorry.
You're good. I laughed at it too. But yeah, there's no reason for you to keep trudging a path that doesn't serve you, one that you don't want to go along.
Yeah.
You can choose your path.
Have autonomy. Stick it to the man. Called life.
You teach people how to treat you. Next question.
Like Lisa said, be okay trying new things.
Yes, definitely be okay with trying new things. That's where get comfortable with uncomfortability.
It's about the journey.
What version of yourself have you created just to survive your environment? Have you become submissive in an overbearing stance? Have you become overspoken because of lack of being heard? Like, what extremes have you had to push yourself to? Or I shouldn't say extremes, but extremes of like who you are, polar opposites.
Like being aggressive so that you don't get walked on.
Yeah. Remember, guys, you put up the masks.
Relationships, friendships, a job.
Masks have their place. They have their position. You know, it's not like that you just take them off forever. Eventually, you get to a point where you don't have to wear them anymore because you've accrued what it can give you. But, like, damn it.
What version of you have you created just to survive? What version of yourself have you created?
But remember, the more that you wear the mask, the more that you hide behind the lies, the farther away from yourself that you are taking yourself. So the whole point of all of this is to be able to get to you.
There's a silent resentment building the more that you are not sitting in your authentic self.
Oh gosh, those are some powerful words.
Silent resentment can be the death of your internal you. You've got a fire under there.
And resentment's cause, like, it's a toxic place to be in. And we call it toxic not because it's like, it's poisoning to the body. You're putting yourself in an energy that doesn't help. That's why we have illnesses that we do. I mean, I know we can get more into that with all the other cause and effects of illnesses, but a majority of them can be
Stresses you
explained.
out.
Yeah.
It stresses you out. You could have like this anger that keeps popping up in different areas of your life because like subconsciously you know you're doing something that you don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
You've got this fakeness going about you. That's whatever the mask is that you're using.
Because it's not really how you want to react. It's how it's how you've conditioned yourself to react.
But keep in mind that those are not set in stone, but it is definitely a dirt road. The longer you go along that path, the deeper the ruts will be and the harder it will be to pull out.
Yeah. It's like driving through half solid cement.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So definitely examine those, do what's needed to identify
That's a lie.
those versions of yourself that don't actually belong to you. The versions that belong to somebody else. You created those for other people. You're using it to survive. And once you identify those, you can find the survival tactic that it is supposed to embody, and you can bring that into the fold, into your tool bag, so to speak, to pull from as needed, but you won't need that mask.
Exactly. I lied. It's not like half-dried cement, because anything going through half-dried cement is there for life, and we're not about that.
As
Yeah.
much
But a
as I
dirt road
had
changes
to
when
be
it rains.
strong.
Exactly. Oh, a dirt road changes when it rains. A dirt road changes when it rains. You guys, make it rain. Muddy up the road.
As much as I had to be strong growing up, and then having kids and needing to be strong for them,
that's a weird concept.
I was wrestling with, I guess, my strength, this whole leadership thing that kept being put on me. You're setting the example for your kids, and then taking on management roles and not wanting them, and fighting with, like, really, I was just fighting against myself. I wanted to be able to choose my leadership roles. I didn't want them to be put upon me.
My leadership roles that I came across weren't something that I resisted, but it showed me that at some point I will accept responsibility if it is actually thrusted upon me, so to speak. And in those instances, that's what it was.
I wanted to make myself likable. I felt like that was part of my issue in taking on everybody else's judgments, the way that I was being a manager. I don't know. The version of myself that was created to survive that environment, I was trying to make myself likable. People kept telling me that I was intimidating, that, I don't know, my words were harsh. I felt like I kept having to damper myself so that people didn't feel so offended by my existence. And I felt like I was making myself small. And oh man, it was pissing me off. It shows in different areas. Like, I am still wrestling with a lot of anger that pops up.
What was your big pivotal point? Where was the turning point in that?
That is a good question.
I can tell you one example.
Well, I mean, leaving the 5-year-long marriage I was in was letting go of that part of that anchor, and then stepping into it after that. I don't even know. I had to be okay with who I was, because I had to redefine me, not by what everybody else said I was. And I feel like we define ourselves a lot in the beginning by how everybody else takes us. That is who we are.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how much I think I am this way, if everybody else is taking me this way, then I am that way, right?
Not only that, but like what you see, what you're around. Like, you may find somebody that models a certain way that you think you want to be seen as. And then you try so hard for it that it really does become a mask instead of a personality trait. And it's not something that you actually agree with once you get into it and you recognize that's not what I wanted, but I've been at it so long. I feel like it's who I have to be.
Right. Right. Because there was a point where it was like, all right, if everybody thinks I'm this intimidating, bitchy person, then I'll just be a bitchy person. So that I was just an angry person. And I was like, oh, I don't like how this feels. That's not how I want to live my life.
Like, I want to be able to be in control and tell people how I feel, but I don't want to come off as a raging.
Yeah, there's a time and place. Maybe things in my life at the moment required a little bit of that.
But I know I went through a phase. You do. You get so sick of it that you go the whole opposite direction and you start getting real. I got real verbally aggressive with people because I was just so done. I was so done with everybody being fake. So done with the niceties. So done with having to smile and wave, so to speak. I was done smiling and waving. I was throwing rocks. Catch it.
Mm-hmm.
Catch it or don't. I don't
You know
care.
what? The world can burn. Fine.
Yeah. And then somebody told me I needed to bring it full circle. And they're like, all right, man. And they finally told me I wasn't allowed to talk to their contractors directly. That's when I realized I probably needed to calm down a bit, bring it back into perspective. But it was fun. It gave me a lot of empowerment, and now I've got to find balance. So don't be afraid to go into the excess.
You're real one way, and then you go hard the other way, and then you kind
find
of
the balance.
It's weird.
It's how with everything. It's everything in life.
What about you?
You rarely learn things from success.
What version of yourself?
That you actually gain the knowledge that you need. I think for me, it was just the aggressive protector, the person that was, I don't want to say overbearingly protective, but definitely fist forward protection.
You were the person people turned to.
Yeah. When everything was falling apart. And even now, I'm still a lot of people's emergency contact. Hence the weird phone number. But yeah, I always played that role, but there were times where I definitely went overboard. I had my pivot point when I was told, hey man, the crew listens to you because they're afraid not to. And I had to re-examine how I actually carry myself and how I interact with other people.
Yes.
So I wasn't so defensive and aggressive. It took some time, but I got there. And it took some humility. I had to actually go to people and ask them the direct question, like, hey man, are you afraid of me? And if so, why? And what can I do to fix that? And I've cultivated a lot of trust that way. I've cultivated a lot of respect that way.
Yeah. Open communication is huge.
Yeah, because I'd much rather be respected than feared.
My big turning
authenticity and accountability.
My big turning point was, my biggest one was doing the opening up the new Texas Roadhouse. That lady, she was a very fiery, very mean, ill-tempered lady. But she meant well. She was just so overly passionate about her job. And at the time, I did have a lot of animosity towards her. But it was the fire that stoked the flame that showed me how to actually be responsible when it comes to training and teaching people things. And it's something that stuck with me for like the remainder of my jobs. How to take it seriously enough to garner actual results. And yeah, it was a moment of brief clarity in the storm that I get to like look back on now and realize that was one of those moments. It was one of those moments that actually shows you like what you can actually be capable of. And it's just a taste. It's just like, hey, here's a taste of your future, kind of, sort of. Enjoy it for the moment. Relish it.
I don't know. I'd have to say, like, somewhere in my self-love journey, probably towards the end of last year, I really stepped into owning my own power.
Mm-hmm.
I have a confidence about me. I have a lot of knowledge and wisdom in communicating. So when I do communicate with people, it can be real blunt and straight and feels like I'm tearing stuff down. And
it's because you are. All of
yeah,
those masks.
but
You're like, I see all those masks.
in not such
You.
an aggressive way.
Hey,
I was able
how you
to
doing?
hone it and bring it back in because my intent at the end of it is to be authentic so that you feel like you can be authentic as well. Because as much as I might be confident and intimidating, I also share insecurities and vulnerabilities that I'm absolutely willing to share. And that's what makes me look and feel confident, is because I own my dirty laundry.
Yeah, and man, being able to air your own dirty laundry with, as an example, as a step up for whatever reason, having that level of comfortability with it it's so liberating. You guys, this is a path of liberation.
There is
you
a
desire
power in owning your authenticity.
Yeah.
So taking off the masks and letting that fire burn freely. That's where your power is, people. There's my beautiful, beautiful people. And it's not going to happen all at once, you know? These are really, really good questions to write down and stew on.
And remember.
The 5th of November.
The 5th of November.
Sorry.
No, that's
Mr.
fair.
Revolution,
That's so
man.
fair. What? And that, you're not wrong. This is a revolution of self, is it not? But remember, I don't know if I can remember now.
You were really knocking him off his
I am
horse today.
so sorry.
That's all right. It's not all you. I had.
It doesn't all happen at once.
I drank the Red Bull, and the Red Bull is like everything all at once, and my brain's like trying to hold on to the cars that are speeding by at 60 miles an hour. I'm used to going 45. Remember that the path of your own self-discovery is not all big bam aha moments. They are, more often than not, they are subtle changes. It's deciding to get up at 6 with intention instead of at 10 feeling guilty. It's deciding that you're gonna have at least one meal that you cook for the day. It's deciding that you're not gonna feel guilty for the next 20 minutes that you spend not doing anything. It's all of those things.
It is muddling through that uncomfortableness that lasts for sometimes days.
It's deciding to spend the money on a class that you've wanted to do but haven't been able to justify because for some reason we need a permission slip, as Bashar says, to do the things.
There are truly seasons of life. In different seasons, there are different demands on your life and time, and there are different versions of you. Daughter, wife, mom, grandma, coworker, partner. Yep.
Yes, so very
this
true.
whole rediscovering thing is continuous.
Mm-hmm.
The bow that I'm wearing is cloth. It's a bandana that I wrapped around. Aubrey, thanks for noticing. And Mother, thanks for noticing the extra time that I put in to looking the way I do today. I wanted to bring some pizzazz to today's live. So I took some time getting ready. I'm just so excited about what today has to offer.
There's so much
and
going
so
on.
much so that we're moving on to number 5.
No, that's fair. We've got 13 of these suckers to get through.
If we do.
What dream did you bury because you thought it was too much for the people around you? Your dream wasn't too big. Their vision wasn't too... Their vision was... See, and I don't even want to say their vision was too small. Their vision is just different. Like, people can't fathom your dream because it's yours, based off of your experiences,
I would even go back to childhood art.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, step back into your memories. Go back to
what
old
were
journals.
Your silly little dreams when you were a kid?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what did you create? How did you spend your time? What fantasies did you live in? If you were a journal writer, go back to your old journal. It is amazing to go back and listen to your 12-year-old self. Who were you?
Oh
Gosh.
my goodness.
Think about
what did you want to be?
Man, I wanted to be a cop when I was 6. And it was strictly because I watched a lot of Cops and America's Most Wanted. Like, man, I can see it clear as day. And then you have the Bad Boys theme song on both of them. Yeah, that dream didn't last, evidently. But that was one thing.
That's crazy.
At one point, I wanted to be a lawyer because I could argue to get people not in trouble. Oh, what? Yeah, that sounds amazing. And then I wanted to be a therapist, and then I wanted to be so many different things. things growing up as a kid. I had no idea.
What'd you want to be?
I wanted to be a firefighter. I got to play with fire and fight stuff.
That's
Turns
what
out
you
that's
wanted
not
to
what
be?
they do. But, once I realized that, it changed a little bit.
What do you mean I don't get to beat people with a stick on fire?
This is dumb.
There's not a bow staff. It's going to be a thing. Gosh, that would be
No,
fun.
I really did. I actually really wanted to be a firefighter growing up.
Thank you, staff.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like that was too official, I guess, based on the things that I was used to seeing people around me doing.
Yeah, that's fair. I felt that way about being a police officer. I was like, I could never pull over my friends. There's no way I'm going to give them a ticket. And then I'll get in trouble for not getting them tickets. And I'm like, that's just a stress I don't know for myself.
Yeah.
I never saw myself going into law enforcement.
No?
Nope. That was not my dream. My dream growing up was to be a painter, to be an artist. And then it was to be a traveling artist. I wanted to travel the world and paint in different places.
I'm gonna step away. You guys go.
And then I wanted to open my own coffee shop and have like poetry slams and sell my paintings there and like, I don't know, somehow fit it in there. And I remember being told that it was a silly dream because traveling artists don't make money. And it really put a little bit of a damper on that dream. But as I got older, I wanted to be a math teacher because I hated math. And I think I saw it on a movie or something. Somebody else was teaching math in a really cool way that got everybody else engaged. So I wanted to become a teacher to help teach the things that sucked. Most teachers sucked at teaching. It was uninteresting. I could do it better. I'll make it fun. And I was going to be a teacher. And then I joined the military and I had to pick a profession real quick. I was like, okay, well, what do I have like some experience in? And that's why I went into law enforcement.
Canine specifically.
Yes, because I like German Shepherds, and that's why I wanted to do that. That would make it fun because there's a dog there. It'd be German Shepherds. I can be with dogs. Dogs make it fun. And then that just really, really fueled my whole confidence thing. I mean, once you get a uniform, once you carry a badge, there's a huge confidence boost. And checking that and reining that back in, because like now you're like representing all sorts of different things. Yeah, it's crazy how I made it to this point, doing the things I've done, the dreams that I've had.
It's crazy the amount of effort we put into burying our own dreams, trying to do the things. Like I remember
rationalizing them.
Yeah, like trying to work up through the corporate ladder, trying to get into upper management, trying to get into something of that field was always like, that's what I got to do. That's what I got to do. This is it. This is the thing. I really like this job. I like what I do here. This is where I'm going to get into management. When you get into management, like, God, that's stupid.
There's no jobs around me doing the things I want to do, so I can only pick these things.
Those exact
This
things.
one's in a different location. There's no way I can go there. I can never move there. I can't just drop everything.
Yeah, those self-defeating thoughts, man, those are huge. They keep you super stuck. Super stuck. People aren't going to like me. Oh, I'm not going to find the job. Or I'm going to find the job, and I'm not going to like the management. Like, don't think like that. Give yourself the best possibility that you can come up with. I'm going to find the job. It's going to have greatest management. I'm going to do the best things with it. It's going to be in a field of my choice. It can be, I'm going to build my own job. I can set it up the way I want. I can go live where I want to go practice. What have you. Dream big. Let your dreams be big. If you
Make excuses why you could do it.
Yeah, like if you want to be that stay-at-home mom that gets to be like, I don't know, that whole Hallmark look of a mom, go for it. Do what makes you happy. You've only got one life.
Why choose to live it in any other way than what makes you happy?
Yeah, I mean, we possibly have more than one life, but you only get to remember one life at a time.
Yeah.
You might as well build an awesome memory while you're remembering it, right?
When your life flashes back before your eyes, make it a fun one.
Yeah, on your
And you
deathbed,
were
you want to be
happy.
smiling because of things you did, not regretting the things you did.
Mhm.
It's never too late to go after your dreams.
Never, never, never. Onward and yonward.
To number 6.
Who would you be if you weren't afraid of being misunderstood? If you weren't afraid of standing out? If you weren't afraid of being authentically you?
Who would you be if you weren't afraid of being misunderstood?
I don't know, Miss Kamala, but hey, friend.
Hi, Camilla.
Camilla. Speedy recovery, love.
Being misunderstood is the price of authenticity, but the more you shrink to be palatable, the more invisible your truth becomes. Be bold.
Who would you be if you weren't afraid of being misunderstood?
I'm working on that right now, guys. I want to teach people how to step into their truth, find that self-discovery, set
you
the
have an
boundaries,
answer
do
for
the
that?
things. That's what it is. That's
Do
what I
you have
want.
an answer for that?
I don't know. I'd probably be a lot less aggressive.
Yeah?
I make it a point to assert myself and to make it extremely and abundantly clear what I want and need out of a situation. A lot of people find that intimidating, but I do it to avoid confusion and to avoid disappointment, not only in myself but in others, and not having my needs and goals met. So I feel like if I had less of a fear of them misunderstanding and possibly disappointing me, or me misunderstanding and possibly disappointing them, I would be a lot less aggressive in the way I approach not just people but tasks in general.
That is a good point. Wow, I didn't think about it in that manner. If that was the case, I would definitely, I think I would let moments flow instead of pre-calculating conversations. I've let that go-ish, but there's always still like a preamble of what direction I'm going to start pushing the conversation if things start getting wayward. And I've tried to let go of that precaution and just allow myself to be invested in a genuine conversation.
It's almost like asking, who would you want to be? If you could be anybody, if you could be like anything, who would you want to be? You yourself. And I feel like I'm holding back this like
The main character from Super
bulldog. I'm just like, honestly, at the end of the day, oh no, I see it. I see it. It went out. I saw it. I saw it before it went too long. Nobody even said anything that it went out because I caught it right away. Yeah.
It's dead, guys.
Yeah.
And we're back.
I feel like I've been holding back this bulldog.
This is Chachi.
And like I've got a much better relationship with it now and everything. But yeah, if I wasn't afraid of being misunderstood, I feel like I'd be a lot more bold, louder, out there.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
I do.
I'll get behind that. I stepped into that with my angry roofing years. Like I got to experience that part of me.
Not angry though.
You're not wrong. Yeah, but with the anger came the boldness. I mean, it was a mix of both. I'm not saying that's the direction you would
If
go.
I wasn't afraid of being misunderstood, be way louder.
Constantly bold and dominant, more assertive.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think you're stepping into that though.
Yeah. No,
Well,
absolutely.
yeah, but like it's still has a collar on it.
Mhm.
You know,
I
it's
feel that.
domesticated.
It's not roaming wild and free in the
Yeah.
wilderness.
No, if I wasn't
It's
scared of
not
being
that.
misunderstood, it would just.
I don't know. I tell everybody my housewife is feral. I don't know what a domestic housewife looks like.
You're asking the wrong person.
That's what we created.
Yes. The safe environment to be wholeheartedly you.
Wholeheartedly you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What is one truth you've never spoken out loud because you're scared of what it would destroy or expose?
Ooh.
Silenced truths rot in the soul. Sometimes what we fear destroying is the illusion, and letting it collapse makes space for real connection. Ooh, tearing down walls.
Man, for me personally, and I think my wife can attest to it, I'm actually a big goofy softie.
You don't want
I-
people to know.
No, I do now.
Oh,
But back in the
see.
day, man, I was
Guarded.
yeah, and even now in a lot of social situations, I'm still very guarded. I'm still very. I take myself into a serious mode and demeanor, and I don't make the jokes that I feel I should for the most part. But yeah, no, I feel like that would totally destroy the illusion of this, wall that I've built.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. I like to take things that have been bastardized and find them in a good light. I like manipulation. When I was a kid, I used to manipulate a lot, and I did it just for the joy of doing it. I lost a lot of friends doing that. People don't like being manipulated, right? But now it's instead of manipulating people to get them to do what I want to do, it's how do I help people have growth moments? If I'm gonna go through the effort of trying to manipulate a circumstance, and I'll use the word manipulate. I know it's ugly. I know it sounds controlling and like rawr, and that's fair, but I use it because it's speaking the truth. When I look at manipulation, to me, it's a tool in your arsenal. It's something that you can do for the benefit of others. You're not trying to make people be a certain way, but offering them moments of insight and growth is a form of manipulation. It's no different than when you want to see your friend quit their addiction, so you try to convince them of reasons why they should hold on to their sobriety. It's those moments where you decide you need to have a one-on-one with somebody because you decide that you feel they're not in a good place, and you got to be able to check base with them. All of those moments are moments of manipulation. You're taking a moment and you're changing it into something. You're giving it purpose. You're pushing it a direction. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's how are you doing it? In what way? What is the intention behind it? Where do you morally stand with what you're trying to do? So that's like my uncomfortable truth. I like to step into the realms of uncomfortability and shine a light on it and see what good is actually there.
What is one truth that you've never spoken out loud because you're scared of what it would destroy?
Yeah, Whitney, one truth.
Just play 3 truths and a lie.
That it wasn't strong. That I was scared. A lot of the time, I was scared. And I could not show that. I could not say that. I could not admit that. Or that I didn't know what to do. And I was scared being in the unknown. That was not something I was okay with doing.
Yeah,
admitting
is hard. Admitting is definitely hard. There's a certain power in the power.
I could only let very few people know that I was scared of something. I had to enter each situation with people seeing me in my confidence. It was going to shatter that image that I had. And that's not how I wanted people to see me.
Vulnerable.
Yes, I could not be vulnerable. It took a lot to own my own.
When you were telling me,
and it finally became a defense mechanism that if I got my dirty laundry out first, then I'd feel better.
That's power, though, because it's true. I mean, I think my cousin, man, and he displayed it in more ways than one, or more examples than one while I worked with him. It's never about whose story is truthful. It's always about whose story gets out first. And don't get me wrong, the truth always prevails. It always does. But the story that gets out first gets to live in the limelight. So, being able to get your version of truth out to the peoples before it gets out through other means is very much a powerful way to be able to own your own mess ups, like, yep, that's right, I am the reason why Billy Bob lost his finger.
Right? When you take that mask off, you can turn that into a power, man. It did become a power.
It's emboldening. You own it. You step into it. You're like, that's right, I did this, call me out, throw that stone.
if I can sit in my own authenticity and be okay with the uncomfortableness, then in turn, if you can't do the same, or whoever's sitting there can't do the same, then it makes them uncomfortable. So I like would literally take my power back, and now you feel powerless, like, unless you can sit in your own truth as well.
Eminem did it really well in his movie, 8 Mile, at the very end there. Took his buddies, or not his buddies, his opponents' disses, and was like, "Go ahead, what else you got? I already pulled out all your cards."
You take your power back, man.
Mhm.
I don't think I've ever actually seen that movie.
I was in my late 20s by the time I finally got around to watching it. It's corny as all get out, but it's still, it's got
I
some
feel
truth
like
to
number
it.
8 is the same dang thing. What truth about yourself would ruin your image if people knew it?
I think mine was more admittance to number 8. Yours is just more an example to number 7. But they are interchangeable. I think they're like opposite sides of the same perspective.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But we'll jump on over to number 9. Wait, hold on. I wanted to read the prompt underneath 8, though. So we're not going to discuss number 8, but what truth about yourself would ruin your image if people knew it? And if your image can't hold your truth, it's not your reflection. It's your disguise. The real you is never ruined by the truth. It is only revealed.
I am strong because of the things I overcame that I was scared of.
Mm-hmm.
That's what made me strong. Admitting that I was scared.
Yep. Admitting that you didn't have a knowledge of your own strengths. Like, maybe I know I'm strong, I just don't know how I'm strong, so I perceive it as weakness because I can't name it. I can't discuss it.
That and courage isn't defined as not being scared and doing something. Courage is defined as being scared and doing it anyways.
Exactly. When was the last time you actively betrayed your own intuition and why? Gosh, guys, I bet you we have a plethora of these.
Oh, yeah.
We betray our
When
intuition.
was the last time you actively betrayed your intuition? And if you can't admit the last time that it happened, then you are still doing it.
Denial. Yeah, actively we didn't deny your intuition because you can feel the time pop into your head and you're shoving it back down like, no, I don't want to take responsibility. I feel it. I'm right there with you guys.
Anytime you thought, well, this is a bad idea as you were doing it, that's a perfect example.
We betray our intuition to keep the peace outside, but always costs us peace inside. Rediscovery begins with restoring that broken trust between you and your knowing. That's why I say, guys, if you trust your intuition every time, eventually it won't be wrong. It will have the opportunity to be misunderstood at first because you are learning how to communicate with it, and communication is a skill that does not start in perfection. But as you trust it, as you learn how to understand it, you and your intuition will become one, and it will very seldomly lead you astray in the end. But practice makes perfect.
And it can be any number of little things. Apologizing when you know you shouldn't have, you weren't wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Accepting somebody back into your life when they wronged you and not having the boundaries in place to keep them in their place that they belong in. Rekindling old relationships out of boredom or any other number of reasons why people make that
Comfortability.
Yeah,
a desire to return to what was.
And choosing to accept the flaw instead of repair it through growth. Giving up on a dream. I mean, there's any number of things that could absolutely be betraying your own intuition.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's those moments in the storybooks where the person's telling herself not to do the things as she's actively saying such, doing the things, and the author talks about how their heart drops into their stomach and they feel like stone lead and it's cold and it's numbing and you just feel dead to the world. That's an extreme example, but nonetheless, that is an example of what it feels like to betray your own intuition on an innate level. And you do that enough, you won't be able to perceive your own intuition. It's like its own form of spiritual death, if you will. And that's a hard place to be.
I'm trying to make female friends. I'm trying to make
Me too.
good friends in general with different intentions. But I didn't have a ton of female friends around me, and I was trying to play nice and placate and have good first impressions, and I was not being true to myself.
You were
And
stepping
speaking
into
up
what
when
you thought you needed to
things
be.
popped up that made me feel a certain way.
Oh my gosh, you guys, you bring
I
up a
should
really
have
good
said
point.
something, and I didn't. But when I recognized it,
I
I went back and I was like, okay, I recognize this spot where I didn't say anything, and that's not bad. You didn't know. But now I'm saying something, and I apologize for not saying something sooner.
Which brings up a really good point. How many times do you step into a situation with a preconceived notion of how you think you need to be in order for a positive exchange? And I don't know how many men we have on here that watch this, but let me tell you what, when it comes to the dating scene, that is a very frequent thing. How can I perceive myself to be somebody worth the attention? And it pushes you to grandiose opening statements and a crazy bio just to get noticed, and you start losing yourself in the momentum of trying to be noticed and recognized. Yeah, and that's just like one of many examples of not staying true to yourself. Women, you may experience the same thing on dating. I don't know how it is for you when it comes to online
You gotta
dating,
pick the right pictures to put on the profile. You gotta have the right bio. Yeah, I see where you're going with this.
definitely.
And in the same sense, you could do the same thing with starting a business and getting too carried away with it. You want it to look a certain way.
Yeah.
We're staying true to who? We're staying true to you. We're like, I got all these ideas. I want it to be this thing. Like, hey, just we're in the now. Thin. We're in the now, Whitney. Yeah. This is where the business is at now, and make the now be what you want it to be.
That's a lot more hard.
What are we capable of today on this Wednesday? Man, I'm fired up all day about it, all week about it. Prepping for this one. Ooh, tear off the mask. You are the fire beneath it. You are not the mask.
Not the mask. Bro, and the mask is comfy. You've made it really comfortable, It's got like the foam head strip across the top to keep it from being stuck to your head, making it all sweaty.
Maybe it's an old mask where you were like,
and it's painful
sewing it into your skin. Like, this is a mask that needed to stay because it protects you.
It's a wooden mask that splinters when you take it off.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah. You can have all different kinds of masks. Like, how rooted is that in you?
Is there pain in the mask that you wear?
How many layers do you have of masks that you need to take off before you can find the real you?
Oh, those are good times, good moments, good times.
And if you take off all those masks and you see this scary, pasty, white, gaunt version of you, don't be scared of it. They just need some nourishment, love, and adoration to fully fill and become what you're supposed to be, want to be, should say supposed to.
No. It's who you are destined to be. It's who you were made to be.
Destiny. You guys, somebody said, sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Somebody said something about, it's not about what choices you make in this life. It's about understanding why you made them. Mm-hmm. Understanding the choices that make you you. Why do I want to do this? Why does this appeal to me? Oh, it's because it makes me feel like a kid again. Oh, it's because it brings a smile on my face. Oh, it's because I get the satisfaction.
There's a fine line between analyzing stuff like that and just enjoying the journey for what it is.
Well, definitely. So you gotta have both.
You do. There's an interesting balance between the two.
But that's the parody of life, right? Like, we live in a world of duality. It's learning how to find that balance in all things. Balance is God, God is balance. You gotta have the good with the bad. Ego and spirituality.
You know what
go
it is?
hand in hand.
After so much analyzing, you need to put something into practice. Mm-hmm. That's where it is.
And that's where you start tapping into your emotional self, because all of your actions always lead to an emotional response. You may not be aware of it, but it's there.
Boo. If all of your accomplishments were stripped away, what's left of you that's actually worth loving?
I hate this question.
I love this one. I love this one.
You know why I hate this one? Because I don't have any good answers for it. It takes away every answer that I can think of. Like, to really explain the essence of you is something that is hard for me to put into words.
So I think I can see from an outside perspective, like if I took away your cars, if I took away your apartment, if I took away your things, I would still see a loyal friend. I would still see a loving father. I would still see a dedicated hard worker. I would still see a creative artist.
Okay.
And I feel like those aren't accomplishments. That's just part of who you are. I mean,
Wow. That is just so, yeah, that was just so cut through the bullshit
That's
moment.
why
That's
I
wild.
love this question. Because when people ask about
Well, thank you,
yourself
Rick.
in social settings, it's always about your job, your money that you make, what kind of house you have, what kind of car you have. And that sets your status, where you get to be at in society, what kind of person you are. If
Yeah.
you are worthy enough of being loved, if you have a job, if you have the house,
you
if you
are not
have
wrong.
this.
I type so much
I
validation.
love this.
Yeah.
So practicing when people ask about you, who you are, what you do. Don't say your job.
Don't assign your job. That's so hard because I have such
Talk about your
such an
passions.
identity to my job.
right?
For real, for real, for real. Who are you? You are your passions. The things you are passionate about, those make you.
If I were to go that route, I'd say I'm a teacher. At the core of who and what I am, I love to learn and teach and learn and learn and teach and learn.
The holder of the keys.
Yes,
The
yes.
opener of doors.
Not a gatekeeper though.
No. Oh, gatekeeper, but in a different sense. I'm there to show the way, to give you the way.
To
Here's the
an
keys.
usher in
Here's
through
this
the door.
key. Here's this door. Here's that
Let me
door.
show you how to
And
walk.
if I don't know the key and door that you need, I know somebody who does. Okay? We are going to find that door and key together. Let's go on an adventure.
I love that question. You are
Cat in the
not.
Hat style. Go.
Oh, I love it. If all your accomplishments were stripped away, what would be left worth loving? You are not your job.
Accomplishments are the byproduct, not the proof of worth. Your softness, your curiosity, your laughter, your stillness, that's the gold underneath the medals.
The loving father, the loyal friend.
Your values, the core of yourself. What makes you tick?
You are not what you do. You are not a product of what you produce. You are you. And deep down, that is something that has been built not by the things that you've done, but by the experiences that you've had,
By
your reaction to them,
not
and
the things you've done, but how you've done them.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, all right. I get behind that for sure. That's like that whole bit on Across the Universe when they're fighting. They're like, "What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? How come it can't be who I am?"
Yeah, they're at Thanksgiving.
And then Judah's like, "Well, honestly, it's not what you do, but how you do it." And then everybody around the table shut up, and it was beautiful.
Which is why I love the who am I and tearing it back and tearing it back and tearing it back. And that's where you find
And you do it with curiosity.
all that's worth loving. The fact that you exist is alone enough to be worth loving.
And honestly, ask yourself, if you don't think you're worth enough to love, why? And if those responses are materialistic responses, then you've got it wrong. You're missing the point. You're not seeing.
Elba's comment, the love that I give others. And I think that's beautiful. I think that being a loving person who can outwardly express that openly, not just to the people close to you, but to those around you. It could be the love that you show by giving a stranger a compliment. When you see somebody frowning, you say something to try to make them smile. I mean, that is a kind-hearted soul.
Yeah.
And that is part of who you are. Not what you were doing for work, not what you have, not the car you pulled up in before you told them that's a beautiful dress, but the act that you had committed. That is who you are.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful, Rick. All right.
Moving on.
On to the 11th. What emotion are you most afraid of being seen feeling? Ugh.
Oh man, I would have to say rage.
Yeah.
Since it's been brought to my attention that I can be a kind of scary guy,
there's a kind of in there. I'll just like.
He's not scary. He's a big teddy bear.
I've made it kind of always in the back of my mind. There's this pillar like, hey, don't be a dick. And for people to see me actually enraged, I feel like I can. I might be a bit of a scary guy, but I can be an absolutely fucking terrifying person. And I don't want to be, and I don't want people to see that side of me. I don't want that to be. And it really stems from I am not just me. I am the memories of the collective. And when people see me, that creates a me in their reality that they will carry with them. And if they're a passerby and they see me doing raging things, I will always and forever in their memory be that guy who was terrifying.
That's very true. I never thought about that.
So having that emotion portrayed is something I've worked extremely hard on controlling.
Anger and rage is an emotion that everybody is familiar with because we see it on TV. But other than TV, there is no societally acceptable way to express anger.
It gets shut down so quick.
Mm-hmm.
So quick.
Everybody,
people's feelings.
Yeah.
I feel like, believes that it is not okay to express or show anger. You are supposed to keep it tucked in.
I am totally okay with sharing and expressing my rage and anger.
There are safe ways to do it. And giving yourself permission to feel that, to express it, is so important. And I feel like
mine is love.
The fact that it is so not accepted in society makes it extremely hard for everyone to admit that that's what it is.
Yeah, it's such a taboo subject.
Well, and it's taboo because
it's destructive.
Well, that's where confrontation gets its ick from. People hear confrontation, they automatically think physical altercation or verbal assaults. Mm-hmm. So in a world where confrontation has been misconstrued as acts of anger and justified because that's where they tend to stem from. Misunderstanding leads to anger, leads to not being understood, and the tension builds. But then we became afraid of the tension. We became afraid of the angerment, of the
not
misunderstanding.
Only that, but what does it do, keeping all that stuff pent up, or even denying that that's what it is?
Does nothing.
Yes, it does.
Tears you apart.
Yeah, it's caustic. You're right.
Yeah,
very much.
That's that silent resentment.
Like there was. Like,
that is that silent resentment. Yeah. That deadly. You are not allowing your intuition to speak because your anger shows up to protect you.
And that's what your emotions are, guys. They're cue-ins to let you know. We're showing you where you're at. I didn't like that. That pissed me off. I better say something. Now, how am I going to say it? Am I going to get belligerent or am I going to reel it in?
And then you don't end up saying it because it's going to come out a certain way. You're going to get a reaction because you can't express anger. You can't come across in an unlikable manner.
No.
Disagreeable.
No. How dare you?
So just more resentment to build because you're not standing up for you.
Exactly.
On that same note, there's always a constructive way to control and utilize those, and remembering that those aren't directives. It's not something you absolutely have to follow, especially in the moment. Yeah. So when you're in an altercation, whether it be with somebody you love, somebody you don't like, whatever the case may be, you don't have to act on that emotion or act out that emotion. You can always come back to that and find a constructive way to express that positively or constructively.
I really want to punch you in the face right now, but I'm going to take 10 and come back and talk.
That's constructive. It lets them know that you have a boundary, that there are certain things that you would like to do, but you are choosing not to. And it shows emotional growth and maturity. The fact that you're not just acting on the emotion, you're expressing it and you're letting them know, this is where we stand.
I'm showing you a level of my uncomfortability with the situation. Yeah. I did not like that. It rubbed me the wrong way. I definitely don't want to feel that again.
So we're going to come back and you will address me properly.
Yep. No,
even more.
well, even to just go back and be like, so we're gonna come back and hash this out. You know, there are times where it comes for a demand, and there are times where it comes for diplomacy. Yeah, I mean, I guess if the guy comes at you sideways and you know it, that's totally the way to go about it. Most circumstances.
You know,
I
the
agree.
thing that killed me about being angry is when I get so angry, I cry. And it makes me even angrier because that's not the expression that I'm trying to convey. I am so angry that tears are coming out. I can't even contain it. I don't even know what to do with it. And I'm so furious that I'm crying. And now I can't even talk.
When I got to that point as a kid, I had to be okay with it and just tell myself, well, it's on them if they get the crap beat out of them by a kid that's crying.
No, it was like a shutdown. It was like I needed to hide. Like, oh my God,
That's
I got
fair.
so angry that I'm crying. And now I look retarded.
Mine currently is showing love and affection. Being open to that is really hard to like step into. I can feel the walls. I can feel the door. I'm like pushing so hard on it to just get it open and crack. I'm like, nope, that's okay. I'm tired. That was a lot of work. That was scary.
And it can be hard, especially if you didn't grow up in an environment where it was so openly given it.
Yeah, it's definitely part of it. You know, and get into those stages of just being let down and hurt in relationships is another big bit of it.
Yeah.
You know, or your own self defeat, like when you aren't successful in your own views.
How many examples did you have growing up to see how you can safely express anger and rage?
Oh,
how do you deal with that?
I've seen a lot of that.
How can you safely and maturely express love?
That one was not as much. Gosh.
What examples did you have growing up for that? Sadness. What examples did you have growing up? Are you allowed to be sad? Or is that just attention seeking? Because that was a big one.
Yeah.
Anytime you're crying, you're just looking for attention. There she goes again, crying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's sad again. Gosh, you should stop being sad.
Albert commented, feeling depressed or sadness. Finally, I've allowed others to be there for me. I didn't allow others to see it because growing up, I was taught to be strong, and I can completely agree with that and resonate with that. Depression and sadness is something that's also very taboo, something that people don't, readily express, and they bring it.
And it's not
inside.
readily respected.
Yeah.
More often than not, it's met
No, it's been stigmatized.
it's been met with a form of taunting and I don't know, like it's not worth the time of day to talk about.
Or making it seem as though the people are weak for being in that feeling.
Yeah, or picking on you before giving you the genuine bit of things. Like, man, I really appreciate the help, but
You're such a pussy, boy.
poke me in the heart like that while you're trying to give me better truths. Like, you didn't have to pick
recognizing
on me.
and understanding the emotions, or even being empathetic to the fact that other people are struggling with the emotions that you have such a good grasp on.
Yeah, man, that's a big thing. Like not recognizing how inclusive we are to ourselves. Like really taking the moment to step outside of yourself and asking, is that other person that's in a similar situation I'm dealing with, or is on the other end of the situation I'm dealing with? Like, are they there? Do they recognize the same kind of emotions? Like, have we had that talk? Do we need to have that talk? Maybe we're seeing things from different angles, and that's where the hang up is. Maybe there's experiences that they're lacking that I had full access to growing up, and that's why the response is what it is. And
I mean, conversations like that are just insane because I grew up where when you're friends, you walk into other people's house, you don't knock. So when I started doing that to other people, and they're like, "What? What are you doing?" Like, what do you mean?
The first time you did that, I was like, "Oh, so you're that kind of friend." All right, I'll just make sure the door is
common everywhere else.
So I was like, I'll just make sure the door's unlocked when they're on their way over. It's a little bit different now. I can't always do that.
And I still knock at my mom's house.
That
also stems from other traumas from not knocking when I was a child.
That's fair.
You never know.
But you never know what you're walking into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different experience, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hank went blind on King of the Hill. He walked
Oh
in.
my gosh.
You remember that one?
Yes, I do.
Ooh,
that
we
was
got
actually-
2 left, guys, and this next one is one of my favorite ones.
Hmm.
And then we got a closing exercise that we'll end with.
All right, you do it because it's your favorite. Read it out.
What are you supposed to be grateful for?
But deep down,
It chafes.
compliments.
What are you supposed to be grateful for? But deep down, it chafes.
Compliments. Or anytime that I get help. I'm grateful for the help, but gosh, it sucks that I have to ask. It sucks that I'm not strong enough to just not need the help. It sucks that I can't figure out my life at 30 years old and struggle bus. But the help's there. And it's needed and it is appreciated. And I'm so grateful for it. And one day, I won't have to have it be so like grating because the help will be there because it's there, not because I'm always in need of help. You know what I mean? Like being able to rein in that balance. And it's not to say like we are creatures of like we are group creatures. Like help is a part of our life system. It's something that we should have a comfortability with, helping others and receiving help in turn, and it not being this thing that just like, ugh, can't believe they have to see me when I'm being vulnerable.
I don't remember the name of the doctor. She was an archaeologist, but she was asked, "What do you consider the first sign of civilization?" And she said, "Finding a skeleton from that era with a mended bow," because that showed at the time that they had to be taken care of. There had to be other people there to help them, and that is one of the greatest signs of civilization: is being there for your fellow person and being able to help them.
I think before currency, that's really what it was. I mean, we called it trading, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it was
Goods
helping
and
each other out.
services.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, you need help with furs for clothing? Well, I need help with corn for the harvest, corn for my chickens, what have you.
Yeah, back before everything got monetized and it wasn't as readily
That speaks
accepted
volumes.
for trading.
The first sign that there was civilization was mending of bones.
I want to know who had that thought process to recognize that.
A philosopher.
Yeah.
Actually, it was an archaeologist. She was a female doctor.
So she was a philosopher,
Yes.
She probably was.
especially being an archaeologist, because you have to surmise things from the past, right? So you get really good at guessing.
And again, she's not what she does. She's not just an archaeologist. I mean, she obviously had a beautiful mind and a kind
She's
heart.
curious and insightful, inquisitive.
What is something that you're supposed to be grateful for, but deep down it shapes?
For me personally, it is gifts received. It's something I've struggled with my entire life. My whole life, I was raised that you keep what you kill, you earn your keep, you get what you earn. Mistakenly, and I'm not even going to call it a mistake. It's something that I'm instilling into my children as well. You have to earn your keep, earn your place. You have to be able to provide for yourself. You have to be able to, if you want something, earn it. But the double edge of that sword is that when you receive a gift, it feels weird. Like, I didn't earn this. Thank you, but I don't deserve it. Like, what is this?
Finding the fine balance between working and receiving.
Yes.
I like that.
And it's hard, and I should be very grateful. The gift is wonderful, and I appreciate it deeply. But it still feels weird to me because I didn't quite earn that. I mean, and then trying to justify it within myself. Like, I've earned this through our friendship. I've earned this through maybe advice I've given, or times I've been there for that person.
Oh, I have a very visceral moment for that. Like, okay, so you guys brought me that snake cage, right? And then, like, we went out to eat, and I wanted to buy you guys dinner, and I really like ran through the scenarios in my brain. I'm like, why am I buying them dinner? Is it to say thanks for the snake cage, or is it something else? And it ended up being because you got like, it's my turn to taste you guys. So then it was really fun and interesting to look at it and be like, well, because at one point in time I would try to tie that into both. I'm like, hey man, this is just say thanks for the snake cage, and it's my turn to taste you. And that just sounds so I don't know.
Like you're trying to find a reason.
Yeah, like I'm trying.
Too hard.
Yeah, well, but it's a way for me to feel comfortable with accepting the gift. So I really had to just make myself be like, I'm grateful for the cage. Let that be a gift. but I'm still buying them dinner because it's my turn to buy them dinner, you know? And it felt good to be able to go through that whole reasoning. But
it was uncomfortable.
it was very hard to not just be like, so what about this? How am I gonna say thank you for this, guys?
How am I gonna pay back the debt? No, you don't gotta pay back. It's a gift, and that's the hard part.
That is the hard part, yeah. And then you start playing the one-up game and you don't even realize it, and then it's all self-defeating. Defeating of the purpose, at least. Not defeating of self, but yeah. What about you, Rennie?
I went through this one before, and I feel like I came to family.
Oh.
Family was a big thing growing up. It was huge. It was important. It was big, and it was great, and I loved it. And you're supposed to keep the family together. You're supposed to do big holiday things together. Those are the moments when you're supposed to bring them together. And as I grew older, the family kind of felt like it was falling apart. But then why was it even held together in the first place? With intention. There were people who were intentionally making it happen.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
So if I want that, if I want to feel that again, then I'm going to have to be one of those people that make it intentional and build it. So I'm doing that now in the best way that I can, and to teach my kids to do the same thing.
You know what's really cool about
but
that?
I still have this chafingness to the fact that what I used to have isn't the same anymore.
But you get to add a new layer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like universe is telling you, all right, you got to experience how nice it is to just enjoy it from a third person perspective. Now you get to be the reason why others get to enjoy it from a third person perspective. You know, and it's unfortunate.
Yep.
And maybe you'll get to that point where you get to just enjoy something to enjoy it and not have to be intentional with it. Or you will have those moments. But like at the core of it, like, that's the role you've stepped into for now, for others. So like they can have that experience, one day come to that realization and become the bearers of that tradition for others to be able to experience the way they did as kids. It's like a way of accepting that it's enough for what you got, and there will be glimpses of it in your future.
Well, I still have bits that I missed.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to create that because that's at the end of the day, it was the constant connection that made me feel connected to my community and my tribe. So I made my own tribe.
That's fair.
Where I get those feelings.
I love that.
Yeah.
The blood of the water, or the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. I've always lived by that.
The blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb.
The people that you build intentional connections with tend to be there in a stronger way than even family sometimes can be for you. And that's, I think that's just supposed to be. It's like a natural thing. Like as you grow up, you're not going to grow together with your family, with all of your family, I should say. You will find the ones that you connect with, and you will have your moments where you get to connect en masse with the whole family. But it really is about the family that you get to connect and structure and build your life around.
I think we're really just kind of genetically built that way. Mm-hmm. I mean, it shows in a lot of the, I guess, human mechanisms. I mean, obviously inbreeding is wrong, but also just having a sense of community. I mean, it's easy to do within family, but it's also something that you have to work with, no matter whether they're family or not. And those connections that you build with those around you who aren't related,
and
tend to end up stronger.
I think we may even see a switch with the big awakening that we have happening as parents become more intentional with raising their children, learning to respect them on their level as much as having them respect you on yours.
Yeah.
There will become a point where families will become families. Like it won't just be picking and choosing the friends that will become your family, because you're not having to sidestep and dodge the traumas of other family members. Like at some point in future generations, there's going to be enough of us that have worked through enough of our stuff that we're raising healthy, mostly complete beings, And I think that'll change the whole structure. Hey, you're not wrong there. Like, it's
well-adjusted and emotionally intelligent.
Yeah, at least emotionally intelligent. I think at the very least, if people can learn how to emotionally regulate, that will go miles for our society.
Well, and a lot of that depends on what we as a people do. I mean, so they say that strong men create good
I
times.
was just thinking that.
Yes.
Good times create weak
It's,
men. Weak men create hard times, and hard times create strong men.
It's a cycle.
And that cycle that we stay in, if we can be the society that stops separating the warriors from the scholars and puts them back together where they belong, so we can have strong, educated people to have those good times and carry that forward and continue to teach people that it's okay to be strong and smart.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be one or the other. You can absolutely combine both of those.
Gotta live in the world of duality.
Yeah. And
that's the next
if we can bring that forward, giving people the emotional intelligence to understand that crying doesn't make you weak, sadness doesn't make you weak, fear doesn't make you weak, and you can be strong and have those feelings, we can get away from the society that told us that strong men don't cry. And we can get away from the negative aspects and the negative connotations around crying or being angry or being
emotionally vulnerable with your partners and friends.
Physical and verbal outward expression of love. It shouldn't be so taboo. And if we can continue on that road and we can teach the next generation to do the same thing and spread that knowledge in the generation that we are, I feel like that could go a long way towards maintaining, your vision of the future, where it's emotionally intelligent people raising emotionally intelligent people who are strong enough to keep the times good and vulnerable enough to accept it for what it is and appreciate it.
All right, question 13. What part of yourself do you only show when you're alone in the dark? The version of you that shows up in solitude is your rawest truth. If this version feels freer, maybe that too was meant to be pulling you forward.
I feel like the version of you that would show up in the dark is
that lady that's dancing in the kitchen when nobody is home, singing her
not
heart
only
out.
that, but like if we haven't finished pulling some of these masks off and we're still sitting with some of this silent resentment, then it would be almost like a wounded child in the dark.
It's like the backhanded answers that you have in the back of your mind that you wish you could just spew out.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like, oh yeah, no, don't worry. I can't believe she didn't see me. I was right there. She was staring right at me. She full on walked into me. I should have said something. Why didn't I say something?
Yeah, I wasn't good enough. I'm weak.
And those moments, the part of yourself that you feel or that you show when you're alone in the dark, may be a wounded version of you, but it's crying from a version of truth that's begging to be expressed. So acknowledging that it may be a wounded version of you and it seems over the top with the way you want to respond is totally okay. I'm not saying go out and respond with that level of raw, but recognize like that you found your starting point. That's what you want to express. So refine it from there. So the next time you have a situation like that, you can express, and you can express comfortably and with more confidence because you've kind of given yourself a parameter to work with.
And the one that dances in the kitchen. And the one that likes to be goofy painting.
Goofy painting. I love
binge
to
watching
sing.
Anime, eating chocolate on the couch.
That is oddly specific.
You're not supposed to be telling people about my life, Whitney. We've got some new seasons coming out this year on anime. Some new second seasons to some older stuff that I've written off as not coming back on.
Ooh, that'll be exciting.
Yeah, I think that's probably the only real good positive upside to binge watching anime is eventually they're gonna bring out stuff that you remember watching from a long time ago and you can be excited about it. Yeah. Otherwise, you just get lost in the fact that you binge so much anime that you wonder how much of your time have you spent frivolously doing such a thing, and how much of it was really self time. You know,
Why can't it be both?
It was definitely both. I just think the binging outweighed the me time by a lot.
Fair enough.
Oh boy, did it happen!
What would your life look like if you ripped off some of these masks?
I don't have that question on there. I don't know how to answer.
What would change in your relationships if you lived without these masks?
Oh, that's a scary one. But I think you got, I don't know. This is going to sound very like cliche and okay, it's easy for you to say, but honestly and truly, get excited about the change. Even if it doesn't turn out with what you desire for yourself right now, it comes full circle. You're scared of losing a relationship, but guess what? You already lost yourself. Stepping into who you're going to be is either going to shake things up, make it new and exciting, and you're going to get a whole new version of your relationship and the person you're with. Or they're going to walk out of your life because they can't handle you stepping into your authenticity, and they're making room for something that is going to bring you exponential happiness. And it may not be right away.
Life is supposed to feel good. If it's not feeling good, then what's the worst that could happen?
And-
Sitting in your own authenticity.
Can I be honest, guys? What's the point of life if it doesn't feel good? What's the point of getting up and getting excited about your day if you don't like what you're doing? Get
You guys
yourself into that mode.
Clearly weren't raised Catholic.
Yeah.
No, I completely second that. That is, I believe how life should be lived.
So as we're going through this, as we're going through the questions, as you are identifying the masks that you've been putting on, I have a little exercise for ripping the mask off.
Dude, let me grab a couple of these first. I want popcorn, not a story.
Tonight, we're not here to make you comfortable. I'm here to hand you your affirmations and let you drift off Earth. We're not here to make you comfortable. We're not here to hand you affirmations so that you can go back to sleep feeling all nice and cozy. We're here to drag you back to your fire. We are not who we were, but too many of us are still wearing the corpses of old versions of ourselves like a second skin. So tonight, we rip them off, mask by mask, lie by lie. We're going to bleed the truth, and from that truth, we will rise. So the first exercise I have is the mirror confrontation. So close your eyes, breathe. Imagine standing in front of a full-length mirror. Not the mirror that you check for lipstick or messy hair. This mirror sees beneath your skin. In this mirror, you see every mask that you wear, every role that you play, every persona that you crafted to survive, to belong, to protect your softest parts. What do you see first? Speak it in your mind or write it down. What do you see first? No bullshit, no filter. Good. Now go deeper. Dig. What mask hides beneath that one? Is it the perfectionist? The people pleaser? The cold one? The tough guy or girl? Go until it gets uncomfortable. Go until you feel like you've touched something raw. Now look at just one mask. One mask. And ask yourself, who did I build this mask for? Was it to survive your family? Was it to avoid abandonment? Was it to feel worthy in a room full of doubters? Speak the name of the fear that crafted that mask. And I want you to say this out loud or write it with fire. I see you. I made you. I no longer need you. Now that you've seen the mask, now that you've called out its creator, now you destroy it. So visualize yourself ripping it from your face with your bare hands. Tear it, shatter it, crush it beneath your feet, kiss it, thank it, set it on fire, bury it under the ground. You are imagining this turning into ash, being carried away by your breath. You're free from the mask. It is no longer a part of you. I am no longer bound to this lie. I am free to be my truest self. Now, without the mask, who are you? What is left, burning bright, unfiltered, beautiful in its rawness? Speak it, write it, claim it. You are not the mask. You never were. What you are remains when all the lies are burned away. Tonight, you did not just rediscover yourself. You rescued yourself from your own illusion. Keep this version close. Feed it. Speak its name in every room that you enter from now on. Because once you see your true self, there is no going back. And that, my beautiful loves, is power.
Sit with it and own it.
And that is my exercise. But before you close this window and go back to your life, pause. Pause and feel what you did here tonight. You didn't just peel back masks. You didn't just scribble some words on paper. No, you cracked open the coffin that you buried yourself in. And you breathed life into the old version of you that's been suffocating under all the roles, the expectations, the fear. But listen to me. Listen. You have a choice tonight. You can pick the masks back up. You can glue it back onto your face like you've done 1,000 times before. You can crawl back to the numbness, to survival mode, to maybe tomorrow. Or you can fucking live. You can walk away from this screen and walk into your life wearing nothing but your truth. No excuses. No apologies. No costume changes. Because you're not who they told you to be. You're not who you pretended to be. You are exactly who you decide to be from this moment on. Burn the mask. Burn the fear. And when they look at you tomorrow, let them see the wildfire in your eyes and the ashes of your past at your feet. You were meant to fucking burn. Now go, my beautifuls. Go set the fucking world on fire.
I've got one line I would like you guys to repeat to yourself out loud. Ready? I give myself permission to step into who I used to be, to step into the new me. You have the ability, the permission to do that for yourself. This isn't a waiting game. This isn't waiting for the epiphany, the stark realization that you're allowed to be this. You can do it. You've been given the steps. You're allowed to do the things. You're allowed to go out there and be unabashedly you, and it'll be hard at first, and it's baby steps. You're not going to be able to own the full version of you right away, but you can start making small appearances here and there. Get comfortable with the confidence that comes with stepping into this person. Don't bury it. You work so hard to just uncover it all. Play with it a little bit. Get curious.
Own your power. You got this, babes. Thanks for being here.
Until next time.
Go set the world on fire.